Hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm Ryan in Singapore. Welcome to our mindfulness practice. Today's topic is about noting. So what we've been doing is we've been talking about ways to help with concentration. So sometimes we'll find in our mindfulness practice that it is challenging when we sit and meditate to try to stay focused and to try to stay here and concentrated in this present moment. So we've gone through a variety of different things that are designed to aid in concentration and holding our focus in the present moment. So we'll find that it's very common for the mind to want to move away from whatever it is that we're focusing on. So maybe we're focusing on the breath. Maybe that's the chosen object of meditation. We're trying to stay focused on what it feels like to be breathing, but we discover that that's really challenging. Monkey mind is this concept that the mind always needs to be doing something, that the mind will not, if you tell the mind, hey, do nothing, just sit there and do absolutely nothing, the mind can't do it. And I mean, you can see this in research as well, in fMRI. When someone gets put in an fMRI machine and the researcher says, hey, don't do anything, think about nothing, clear your mind, that definitely there's something that's going on. And that thing that's going on is what's known as the default mode network of the brain. So the brain is constantly observing and thinking and having that main, most interesting topic on the mind, which is I, me, mine, myself, all of the things related about my favorite topic in the world, me. And if we can give that monkey mind something to do instead of naughtily wandering around about all the topics about me, then we can potentially stop all that moving around. So we just say, do one thing. That one task is focused on what it feels like to be breathing. Focus on the present moment. What is present moment? How do I focus on the present moment? One common way is to focus on bodily sensations, because bodily sensations are here in the present. Bodily sensations are only happening right now. Of course, I can remember what happened a few moments ago, but when it comes to observation, what I am observing is what's happening right now. And even as I'm speaking, I can feel the muscles in my abdomen in a certain way. I can feel every time I breathe in that expansion in the belly. And so this can be our object of present moment awareness, is the body. And so we find that even though we give our minds this task, that because we're so used to having our attention going all over the place, that usually in our meditation practice, our attention still goes all over the place. So that's what we've been doing in these past few weeks, is finding ways to help keep the mind focused in the present moment. Good afternoon, Trish. Hi, Nestle. Awesome to hear you're coming in from Turkey. I'm here in Singapore. It's 5:37 a.m. here. But great to have you here and joining us today. So some of the concentration methods we've used have been focusing on the number of breaths that we've been taking. Some are focusing on the number of seconds it takes to inhale and exhale. And so as we've been working on these methods of concentration, we've been moving a bit farther and farther away from something that's happening all the time. So counting as we breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is something that we're doing every single second. And it does certainly aid in concentration. But what we can discover is as we are meditating, there is some benefit in moving farther away from that constant assistance, right? That constant, as I've called it in the past, training wheels to keep us on track, to keep us on whatever object we're focusing on, our chosen object of concentration. So as we're moving farther away, the last time we had repeating our intention. So reminding ourselves why it is that we're here. And so today's practice is about noting. So each time we discover that the mind has wandered away from the chosen object of meditation, we will take one moment to note with a single word label. And I tend to find that these are the best. So not even 2 words. Can we choose a label that's a single word to note our experience in this moment? So for example, like lightning crashes outside. I find that I'm no longer focused on my breath. I'm focused on the sound that I heard outside. So that could be hearing. Maybe I am trying to focus on the breath, and then I notice my mind has gone to thinking about the future. So that could be thinking. Or potentially when our minds, because we are very often distracted by thinking, maybe it's better to give it a more specific label. So I am, start to worry about my taxes, which I haven't filed yet, right? So I say worrying, right? And so start to use these labels to notice what it is that's going on. Or maybe I'm feeling some intense sensation in my knee, right? And that draws my attention away. So that could be intensity or burning. So choosing that one word label to just notice where the mind has gone. And so, what's the purpose? What's the benefit of doing this? Why, we've been using things like counting, we've been using intentions. So I'd say out of all of the ones that we've been using, this one has an additional benefit, right? This one is a bit more powerful when it comes to mindfulness practice. And you might notice some commonality between this and open awareness practice. And so what noting does is it's helping us, one, like we say, building concentration to help keep the mind linked to this present moment experience. So we're linked to our present moment experience by noting in our mind what's happened, right? And that's neither pushing away nor attracting to what that experience is. We're simply noting it for what it is. And, this is something interesting because it helps to bring this kind of non-judgmental awareness and kind of create space, as I like to say. It kind of creates space between myself and my experience so that I can observe that experience in a more non-judgmental way. So it helps to keep us from becoming too identified with the experience. It helps with this kind of non-identification. It's like, I am experiencing this that's happening right now. It's not me, right? I am experiencing the feeling of frustration, right? Frustration. Maybe that's the thing that's coming up. I am experiencing frustration. I am not frustration. I am not frustrated. I am experiencing frustration. And maybe as we note that, what is it that allowed us to know that we are feeling frustrated? Maybe it's more than simply a mental awareness. Maybe we observe the feeling of frustration in our bodies. So, something to encourage you as we're going through this practice and doing the noting isn't to analyze what's going on, isn't to get caught up in doing additional thinking about what it is that we're experiencing. This is possible to do, but I would encourage you not to do it during the time of meditation. It's something that you can do as you reflect back on the meditation that you've done. Maybe you do journaling after meditation. So this is the time for you to to record, to analyze, and to understand yourself. But during the meditation, the encouragement is to simply note and use that noting to kind of break up that distraction, right? It's to touch the soap bubble, to just let it pop so that I can come back to my whatever it is that I've chosen to ground myself, which is often, as we do these practices, the breath. It also helps, noting also helps with self-awareness. We can begin to see patterns. So that's another really beneficial thing about this practice, is we can start to see the common thing that's bringing us away from our concentration. What's bringing us away from our focus. So we kind of notice, hey, this thought keeps coming back. Maybe there's something to this thought. Or this intense physical sensation is something that keeps coming back that maybe I hadn't noticed before. So doing this practice helps to foster and cultivate self-awareness. And one final thing, which I hinted at previously, is equanimity. So equanimity is this idea that whatever is happening, that we're not pulling towards, we're not clinging to something that's pleasant, that we love, that we want, or even sometimes we cling to things that aren't pleasant, right? We start to, maybe our jealous thoughts about our partner, right? And like those are thoughts that are unpleasant, but are very immersive, that we find ourselves wanting to continue down that thought stream and really seeing where it goes and where it leads. And so this kind of helps to interrupt that, but also notices the clinging. It helps us to notice when we're clinging to something, and also when there's a thought or sensation or experience that's coming that we're trying to push away, that we notice that pushing away, right? And so this noting helps to bring equanimity in that we just observe it, that it's here, right? This is here now. And so seeing if we can observe non-judgmentally the kind of clinging that we may have, observe non-judgmentally the kind of pushing away we may have of that experience, okay? And using this noting to create that space between ourselves and the experience that we're having. So it's great to have you here today. Welcome, everybody. And we're going to get into our period of mindfulness practice right now. So let's go ahead and get started. And so the way to get started is to find a comfortable posture. The recommended posture that I like to give everyone to try out at least is a sitting posture. So if you happen to be in a place that you can sit, preferably with your back away from the backrest if you're on a chair, so that you can really be awake, alert, focused. So the posture is really helpful in creating that kind of space in which we can concentrate. And maybe it's late in the day for you. Maybe sitting up isn't what your body needs the most. Maybe you're here to relax. Maybe you're not here today to stay completely focused in a really concentrated meditative state. So, I welcome you here, whatever your intention is behind being here in this live event today. So if you're with me, you're sitting up. I'd encourage you to notice how Earth's gravity affects the body. Notice the sensation between your buttocks and the cushion or chair. And if you'd like, if it feels comfortable for you, you can allow your eyes to close. Sometimes closing the eyes can help us to tune in with a greater awareness to the sensations we feel in the body. Noticing now the legs, the feet. If you're sitting on a chair, can you feel your feet against the floor? And as for me, I'm sitting on this cushion. I can feel my legs on the zabuton. The cushion underneath the cushion, maybe. It's a way to describe that. And noticing the texture of it. And I can feel that it's not smooth cotton. The texture is a bit rougher. Kind of helps keep my legs from sliding as I'm at this angle, as I feel how Earth's gravity is pulling down and the influence of Earth's gravity on exactly how it feels to be sitting here. And so you can also start to notice sensations in the spine and the shoulders and the arms. I can feel Earth's gravity pulling down on my arms. Just noticing how they hang here by their own weight. And what keeps coming up for me as well, I can't help but notice the tension that I have in my eyebrows. I can feel kind of a tensing and a furrowing of my brow. So with that awareness, I can try to let it relax. But I notice that it doesn't want to completely relax. So can I roll out the red carpet and welcome what is here in this moment for me? So is my jaw tense? So I would encourage you, be aware of the body. Be aware of what it is that's happening right now and see if you can be aware with open arms, lovingly welcoming whatever your experience is in this moment. This is you. This is how you are right now. This is the present. So is it possible to lovingly embrace this version of you that's here right now? Welcome me. Welcome to right now. And maybe you'll find that compassion naturally begins to bubble out of our meditation as we bring non-judgmental and awareness and equanimity to our practice. You don't have to intentionally practice self-compassion because you'll find that it's already here. So welcome me, the me who's here right now. And now I'd like to invite you to bring awareness to the abdomen. Notice how the abdomen rises and falls with the breath. Different gurus will tell you different places to observe the abdomen, that this is the ideal place, 3 fingers above the navel or whatever. My invitation to you is to tune in to the breath, the physical sensation of the breath wherever it's most prominent for you. So that as I breathe in, I am aware that I'm breathing in. And as I breathe out, I am aware that I'm breathing out. And so as best you can, focus your attention on this feeling. This place in the body where you find the breath most accessible. As I'm breathing in, I can feel myself breathing in. As I'm breathing out, I can feel myself breathing out. And as for me, I can already notice my mind moving into the future, planning what it is that I want to say next as I lead this meditation. So that's my first label. I'm noticing myself planning. And then I bring the attention back to the breath. And next I notice moisture as I feel the perspiration on my legs. So that's the second note for me, is moisture. And then I try to bring my attention back. I try my best to stay concentrated on my breath, but inevitably I find other things show up in my awareness as well. And as I sit here, continuing to note every time my mind wanders away from the breath, planning is extremely common. Part of that is because I am sitting here in front of a camera on a live event, so I kind of understand where it's coming from. But without delving into it, can I just notice that planning is happening? And then coming back to the breath. Oh, and then I'm planning again. What am I going to say next? I come back to the breath. And then my mind goes to wondering, where's my cat? And then I go back to the breath. So I'm going to leave a little bit of silence here so that you can explore this noting practice without my voice interrupting the process. So let's just take a few minutes here to observe, stay focused as best we can on the breath. Each time we find the mind wandering, noting what it is that caught the attention. So how is it going? So just taking a moment to see what this is like, this trying to focus and using noting to become aware. And so let's redouble our effort on the breath for a few more breaths. Inhaling, exhaling. Inhaling, exhaling. Inhaling, exhaling. Inhaling, exhaling. Inhaling, exhaling. So we'll just slowly begin to draw our practice to its natural close. And I'll close practice with 3 rings of the bell. All right, well done. Congratulations, everybody, for making it through today's practice. You can start to transition out of your period of practice in whatever way you like, to stretch out, to change your posture a bit, get comfortable, get more comfortable. How'd it go? How'd it go today? What was your practice like? What was it like to use noting? And anything else that's coming up for you today? What have you observed in yourself and your practice, and what's going on, what's going on for you? Did you notice something about yourself? Did you notice a recurring theme in your meditation experience today? What was it that you found yourself repeating? What was the note that kept coming up over and over again? Was there one? Did you find many? Did you stay focused on your breath a lot? Maybe that was it, as you were noting, the thing you were noting was breathing. And that says, for a start, and thanks everybody for mashing the heart button. It was difficult to find the word for the thought. And and I guess that's fine, right? Like, no need for a more specific word for the thought than thinking, right? Thinking is enough. It's just something to kind of let you know that the mind has gone away, right? And if we're searching for the thought, then that's a bit, right? That's I guess that's kind of against the intention of the practice. So it's not really about, that's the key to the noting. The noting isn't to trying to create more thinking, right? So, I hope I gave the instructions well enough to make it so that we're not searching for that word. That it was whatever word comes up, that's that first word, boom, that's the one. Just, that's it, I'm thinking. No need to be, planning. Planning just happens to be the one that was showing up for me. Thanks, Annette, for saying, but it got easier. Jean says, it's amazing the places your mind will go when you're trying to focus. A lot of planning. Thanks, Jean, for sharing. And that was certainly what I found. Although I'd say once I knew I had space that I wouldn't be talking for a while, my mind did settle down a bit more, and I found myself being able to stay focused for a little while longer. But then I started thinking about all kinds of stuff. I started thinking about I've got to take my kid to school later, and I'm taking the bus, and then I'm going to go do something while he's at school, right? I found all of that again more. I mean, that's more planning for me. So I find that planning is something that, even if it isn't planning what I'm going to be doing in the next minute, it's planning what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the day. That's super common. I find all of that showing up a lot, and that's probably could be common for you as well. So Cat Blue, I am that I am, says, yes, the suggestion of just one word is helpful. Thanks, Cat Blue. Okay, please feel free to write more in the chat of what this experience was like for you, what you found coming up, if there was anything, and how are you feeling? I mean, what's going on? Are you having, is something in your life really intense and really driving you away from the breath, that you find that your meditation is challenging because of some event that's going on right now? And Jean says, then as noting, thinking that noting was thinking. And Monkey Mind giggled. Annette says, my attention went often to the heart space, but also planning. Thanks for sharing. So we're coming to a close on this series on keeping the mind focused, or aids in concentration. So we're starting to transition out. So we've basically we've kind of gone from this order of the things that are really good at keeping the mind focused in each moment, right? Starting there. So that's kind of like, counting, breathing in 2, 3, 4, 5, breathing out 2, 3, 4, 5, and then etc. And going farther and farther away from that. So then we've got to like focusing on sound. Right, so focusing on sound is similar to focusing on breath, but we had a single sound source to try to help with concentration. And now here we are over here on this side, which is noting. So as we observe, as we work on noting, so now that's kind of the most mindful, the least like chanting type of aid in concentration. Right, like mantras. We did do one day of finding a mantra and using it. So now what we're doing is shifting from aids in concentration to things that are helpful to keep us coming back to our cushion, coming back to meditation. So some kind of physical aid in our meditation. And the first one that we're going to do is something that is not only a physical aid, but also an aid in concentration. So I'm going to be bringing this, sometimes I'll wear some beads on my right arm. And one of the things that's useful with those is that I find that if I'm counting them, or not even counting, we'll talk about how to use them next time. But if I'm using them, I find that it's very, very easy to stay concentrated. So that's something that we can work with. So if you're coming back next time, you maybe bring, let's see, I think I have it right here. Just show you what it looks like. Yeah. So here they are. Right. And so this one has one bead that's different than the rest. right? And that idea here is so that when I'm counting, and again, I don't actually count, right? As I'm bringing this through my hand, I'm able to feel which one's different. So we'll talk about that. And so using these kind of aids in concentration, and also what else has it been besides concentration? What else can this help with? So looking forward to chatting about that. That'll be in about 47 hours from now. So I'll be back in 47 hours to go through this next one, and I look forward to seeing you then. So thanks for joining. I hope to see you again next time. And let's close our practice the way that we do by sending well wishes out to ourselves and to each other. So repeat after me if you like. May I be happy and peaceful. May everyone watching, listening, wherever you are, I wish you all happiness and peace. May all sentient life, everywhere, everyone, wherever you are, I wish you all happiness and peace. Thanks, John. Thanks, Jean. Thanks, everybody, for being here. It's been lovely sharing this time with you, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.